Hello, this is Belen, and I'm gonna present my final project. The questions that are it's about the city jail. They wanted a database to be created for them, so we're just gonna go through the first part, and we're gonna create our entities, attributes, prime key, and relationships. So number one is what we need to know in order to go on with this is to find out the entities, like I said, attributes, columns, primary keys, and relationships that are needed to for the city jail database. And then also how should the relationship between the entities be structured, and what additional entities or attributes would improve the crime tracking database. Okay, so the first thing the entities that we have are the columns, right? So they are criminals, crimes, aliases, structures, sentences, the appeals, the officer, the police officer, crime charge, crime to officers. That are the relationships that they have. Also, we're gonna go through that. So the entities represent the real world object, but which data is stored in the database. Each entity contains attributes that describes its properties. Attributes define the structure of each entity and corresponds to the columns. Yeah, in Oracle. Criminals. It's the criminals column is gonna list their names, addresses, violation offender status, or probation status. The crime is going to contain classification, date charged, hearing dates, appeal status, fine or the amount that they are charged, or the charge status. The sentence and appeal includes date and the status related attributes. So primary keys. The primary keys are the entity. Each entity includes a primary key. It uniquely defines the record, right? So the criminal ID is a primary key. The crime ID, a primary key. Alias ID, sentence ID, appeal ID, officer's ID. The composite primary key is in this case the officer that's that was for the during the arrest could have so many could identify him with the crime ID or the officer's ID. So that could be composite primary key. Whenever we say crime officer is gonna we're gonna recognize him by the ID of the crime or by the officer's ID. Primary key ensures entity integrity within the database. Okay, so yeah, the primary is gonna hold all the tables, gonna connect through that relationships. So there will be one to many, or like for example, the crime and the criminals and the crime is gonna be one to many, meaning one criminal can commit many crimes, but each crime is linked to one criminal. Yeah, and then crime is also the relationship with the crime charge is one to many. One crime can include multiple charges because it can do so many layers of crime, and so they're connected one to many. The crimes and the police officers, it's many to many, meaning the crime can involve many officers. An officer can work on multiple charges on multiple crimes, so is like I said, it's going to be one many to many. Uh, Another one that has a relationship, many to many relationship, is criminals and sentencing. One to many, I'm sorry. One crime can receive multiple sentences, like we said. Each sentence belongs to one criminal. Crime to sentencing is also one to one. One crime, one sentence. And then each result is sentence as a connection to the record, to the sentence record. And okay, so we covered the relationships. Additional design considerations. Derived attributes was identified. Yeah, appeal, cut-off date, we have to, like, the appeal cannot go on forever, so it has to be specific dates that has to be stopped. Business rules in corporations. A crime may involve multiple officers, like we said. A crime may involve multiple charges. A criminal may have multiple sentences. Each crime can have multiple maximum of 3 appeals. So the connection that I made for all the tables is like that. Yeah, crimes with criminals, like whatever one-to-many relationships that I was explaining, it's all connected like that. So part 2. Part 2, the table creation and modification. That's where we're gonna go. First, we're just gonna create the tables. But the first one that I created is the criminals table. The criminals table is gonna have the criminal ID is the primary, and the name, address, phone number, violation of offender status, and probation status is gonna be in that table. The alias is gonna have the alias ID, criminal ID, alias. In the table that are gonna connect them is the criminal ID here, and the criminal ID in both the tables are gonna be the same. Another table, the crime's ID is, yeah, like I said, it's gonna have the date charged, appeal status, hearing date, appeal cutoff, fine amount, court fee, amount paid, payment due date. Gonna have all of that. The police officer table is gonna have their name, their precinct, I think badge number, phone, and then the status of the case. The probation officers. We're gonna have a probation officers. I didn't discuss earlier, and then there is gonna be their ID and their name and phone number. The probation officer ID is gonna be the primary key. Here we're gonna alter the tables. So, who are we altering? Okay, this one, the one that were on the account that was given to us, so we can run it, the updates that were made. So alter table, crimes, add date, record. Date is gonna be to default the time they were recorded. Alter table, probation officer. Or whenever we need to page them, I guess we're gonna add that pager number. And also the aliases is gonna have its own table. That's the alteration that we did. We altered it to modify, I don't know what it was before, but the varchar to varchar 20 we updated. And then we update the criminals, add constraints. We're adding constraint, violation, check violation offender status. So we're gonna it's gonna be yes, violation, and no. That's the update we did. Drop table, appeals, we dropped it. And then the crime officers, we dropped that table also. We dropped table crime charges, we dropped it. I think we're gonna construct it again. So all the crime in table with constraints, all the constraints that we had, I put them here. These are all the tables, the entities, attributes, and their constraints all in one table right here. Crime charge. So because we dropped it, we're gonna create it again here. Data manipulation, number 10 says, how do you create a script to allow users to insert new crimes? So new crime charges, that's what we updated it. The crime charge ID, crime code. That's what were given to me on the part of the instruction that we have to run. So the crime officer, because we dropped it, we have to create it again. We did create it with all the constraints that were given to us. Appeals table was also given to us in the instruction. Okay, we did those. We dropped the tables. So what we did here is, this is what I created on the top. This is all I got confused, but this is what I created for the officers table, crime officers table, and then the appeals table. This is where on the part 4 we have to drop certain tables in order to recreate them with the prompts that were given to us, and this is all the tables that were created afterward with all the alterations. And toward the end is where we, so all the tables have been created, and the information that were given to us in the instruction on part B is here. So this is the table that we had to put in. Okay, select, just to verify, I did select from crimes table, and then select from, and we had to commit that table also. I think that's it. Thank you.